Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawnbusters Taste Challenge. We are here on December 9th, 2020. We have from 1880 Windsor Canadian. I know there's a lot of glare here, but this is bottled in Illinois, but it's produced in Canada under the strict supervision of the Canadian government, it says on the bottle. And their tagline is a supremely smooth whiskey. So that's what they've always said on their ads. If you look at old magazine ads, it says supremely smooth, W, Windsor. Now, whether it's made in Windsor, Canada, I don't know. It might just be made in some other area. Made with waters born in the clear, clean Canadian Rockies. Okay. So it's made in the Rockies, water from the Rocky Mountains. I think when they used to have it listed on the Beam-Suntory website, they were saying that it was made in Alberta using wheat from the interior plains, and this mountain water, kind of like Coors beer, the Rocky Mountains. Okay. I found that it tasted quite similar to Canadian Club. To me, it seemed like it was a 3-year age, like a younger Canadian Club, because Canadian Club is currently aged 5 years. Whether it's the same recipe, mash bill, I don't know. They don't say anything on the website anymore. There's your typical Canadian things. There's no maple leaves, though, believe it or not, but there's a crown, of course, and then the W for Windsor and the 2 lines. So there's the crown. You can see that. The realm of Canada, the Dominion of Canada. Maxwell, good morning, Ron. How are you? I'm fine. How are you in the Russian Federation? Now, here is the Northern Lights. Introduced in 1968. And when the light hits it, you'll see the Northern Light. You'll see the Northern Lights. Well, now, of course, the light's not going to hit it. There it is. Look, dear, the Northern Lights. Wow. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, man. Beautiful. Okay. There's a crown also. Maybe Prince Harry can spend time promoting these brands, because I think he's going to spend more time in North America. He's going to earn his own living. Sound like somebody got his ear, huh? Ha, 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 ha. He's doing well, too. Thanks. Okay. What's his brother's name, the heir to the throne? The one who's bald. They're both bald. I guess in their family, their hair falls out. Oh, well. I thought mine would, because my grandfather was bald on my mother's side, but mine's still there. Look. You might say, what do you know about genetics? Not a lot, actually. Let's see. Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex. Harold, I guess. Oh, Henry. Okay. Henry Charles Albert David, 1984. Younger son of Charles and who's his brother's name? Prince William. Oh, yeah, William. Sorry, I just couldn't remember. William Arthur Philip Lewis. Good morning, Ron, says John and Illy. Good morning to you, John. All right, so maybe Prince Harry and his wife can spend more time promoting these brands, since they're going to, like, defect from the royal family. Oh, men can be so influenced by hooking up with the wrong lady. But anyway, I'm not saying anything. I don't even care. I'm not part of the British Commonwealth. I live in America, the USA. We have our own presidential drama. All right, getting back to the whiskey. This one has diamonds, or forever. diamonds on the bottle. It's brown. It's a brown bottle. Is a brown bottle better? Well, that's what some whiskey websites say. And I mean, from the companies, it's brown. It's better. It protects it from the light. Well, they must know they're making the product. And there's brown for Windsor, the House of Windsor, Windsor Palace. Jojo. Morning, John. Jojo didn't tell me good morning. He's just talking to one of my viewers. Oh, I feel played. Now, what's the real name for the House of Windsor, the British royal family and the Canadian royal family? Saxe, Coburg, and Gotha. They're two Germans, so they changed it in 1917 to Windsor. It's just a made-up name. Okay. NL, Northern Lights, NL. Saxe, Coburg, und Gotha. Trogs released Nugget Nectar, Imperial Red Ale. Saw it yesterday and going to pick up a sixer today. Well, that's good for you because we can't get it. We can't get Trogs. I would buy Trogs beers, but then we get so much else. I mean, I'm not complaining because if you go to Mathern's, well, maybe not Rouse's anymore. It looked like Rouse was hitting the skids, but in some of these other beer stores, Morton Wine Cellar, there's so many beers. I could do a video every day and I'll just be, at the tip of the iceberg. So to sit here and worry about, oh, you can get this, you can get that. I can't. Well, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff I can get. So it's like you're chasing a phantom. You're chasing air. You can't win. So I don't worry about it anymore. I used to. But now it's just I pick certain ones. I try them. Tell you what I think. Go to the next. Pick another one. Try. Tell you what I think. Go to the next. Pick one. You know what I'm saying? It just goes on and on until break of dawn. Now. But I'm not disparaging that. I'm not saying, I'm not trying to play it off like I'm jealous and I'm trying to act like I'm not. I'm not jealous that y'all get stuff that I would like to get. I'm saying I would like to try them. And I wish we could get them, like the 6 Point beers. I'm just saying there's no use stressing out over worrying about it because it's not important. It's just beer. It's a hobby. It's not a religion. Some people make it like it's a religion. Ron, do you smoke? I'm going to pass to the next question now, which is sort of like answering the question. Saw a new Abita beer as well, something related to Mardi Gras. Oh, yeah, the Mardi Gras Bach. That's a good one. It's not expensive. Okay. His question is like asking somebody, are you now or have you ever been a communist, a member of the Communist Party? And they say, I don't have to answer that question. How dare you ask me that question? I'm offended by that. America was founded on the virtues. And it's like, I just asked you a question. You can't answer it. Well, by refusing to answer it, you know the answer, right? Because if the person wasn't a communist, they would say, no, I'm not a communist. What are you talking about? I am not now, nor have I ever been a member of the Communist Party. But anyway, those congressional hearings, you know how that works. They already know the answer when they ask the question. They're just trying to see if you're dumb enough to lie and get a perjury charge. They already know the answer. They've researched you. They don't ask questions without knowing. Remember the hearings 2 years ago for the Supreme Court? Every question they asked, they knew the answer already. So there's a golden amber product. There's a golden amber product. A little more gold, though. Let's notice this. The Windsor's a little more golden, and the Northern Light's a little more amber. Now, the Windsor gives an age statement. It says age 3 years. The Northern Lights does not give an age statement, which means it's a minimum of 3 years, but it could be older. But you would kind of suspect that it isn't, right? Like, well, if it was 4, why wouldn't they say? I don't know. I know in the United States it's something to do with taxes. And they told me that at the Jack Daniel's distillery. The man said, well, we don't put an age statement because if you put an age statement, you got to pay higher taxes on it, like 4 years and then more. You got to pay more taxes. Sounds dumb, right? But if you don't put the age statement, then you don't have to pay that tax. So they're saying we mellow it for around 4 years. We mellow it to taste. but everybody knows it's 4 years. But I don't blame them. I do the same thing. I mean, it's sick that you gotta. It's a sick world. It's a sick world, people, where the United States government is going to tax you for aging whiskey. But they, like George Harrison said, the Beatles said, they're going to tax your feet. If you walk down the street, they'll tax your feet. Because that's what the song said, because I'm the tax man and you're working for no one but me. He was very disgusted by that. He said, England is a country that steals all your money. You make like $1 million and you get to keep 1,000. You say, oh, you defend the rich. I'm not a class warfare person, okay? If you're looking for class warfare and power to the people, right on, and Marxism, Leninism, you came to the wrong channel. Now, if you like free enterprise and freedom, you came to the right channel. All right. Some people can't look past politics. They get so angry, you know. One person used to comment all the time on my videos. I love this beer. I love that beer. I love this beer. I love that. And one time he said, I didn't know you were like right wing, like I had certain political beliefs. And he never watched again, unsubscribed. Well, that's funny to me. I never could understand that because a lot of the beer reviewers I watch, I think they do good work, but their political views I just think are terrible. But I don't care. I didn't go to their video channel to worry about their political views. I subscribe because I like their beer reviews. Get it? You might say, you mean you compartmentalize. You compartmentalize. Right. I do that with friends and family. People probably do with me. There's things I do they probably can't stand. There's things they do I can't stand. So I just ignore those things and don't interact with those particular issues. This smells like the Northern Lights, and I'm going to tell you right now. You say, why? Why? Well, because it had that flavored aroma, like they have added, I say they added plum wine to it. I have no idea what they add. I never mix politics and beer, haha, says JoJo. I don't mind mixing them personally. Politics, religion, government, history. I like to talk about all that stuff. And beer and wine and liquor. And beer, you know, especially. But other people just can't do it. They get so angry, you know, they just get angry. I have a friend like that. He's like all into it, you know, watching Fox all the time, watching all that stuff. And if I disagree with him, I could tell he's getting angry. But my fault, I guess you call it a personal fault, is that when people start getting angry about that, I can't help it. I start laughing. It just makes me laugh. It's funny to me. And oh, that doesn't work too well with people. Like with women that I've had relationships with. Gotta watch what I say on the air. They would get mad, you know, angry about stuff, and I couldn't help it. I just start laughing. It just seems funny to me. Like usually because it's like you're getting angry over something so trivial. Now a lot of it was real, you know, like a real legitimate gripe. Because I have almost like a talent to irritate people. But you might say that's not a good way to carry on a relationship with women, is when they get angry and start laughing at them. I wasn't ever laughing at them necessarily. I was just laughing at the situation. I don't know why. It just seems funny. All right. So that's the plum wine. I say that. I don't know what it is, okay? It just, to me, seemed like they added plum wine to it. Now, I like that flavor. I like this flavor, y'all. Oh, y'all, it's sabotage. I like the flavor. And I'm not even tasting it. I like the aroma. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is so obviously Windsor Canadian. And you say, why is that? Tell me why that is, Mr. Powers. Well, the Windsor Canadian has a real strong, like honeycomb aroma. And I mean like honeycomb cereal. Like, Canadian Club. But it's not the same as Canadian Club. It's similar though, but it's not the same. Oh, and it's got nectar and real strong corn liquor, corn whiskey. There's barley malt. There's some rye spice. It's a pretty complex product. You say, oh, get out of here for $10.99. Complex. I seriously doubt that. Well, you need to seriously try it. Beastie Boys, says JoJo. Craft beer culture, quote unquote, demonstrably leans left. Yes, no doubt about that. I'm essentially a benevolent populist. He's a benevolent populist. Unlike Huey Long, who was a Unlike Huey Long, who was a malevolent populist. Of course, his brother Earl, his younger brother Earl, was probably more like a benevolent populist. Crazy, but he wasn't really out to hurt anybody. But now, the older brother Huey probably had certain designs for America, sort of like a Adolf Hitler or a person like that. You know, he was much more dangerous. Maybe smarter. I don't know if he was smarter than Earl. Maybe. Earl was smart in his own way, though. All right. So these are both complex. And the price is essentially the same. You might find Windsor for $9.99. The Northern Lights you could find for $9.99. And at Walmart, you can get the big jug bottle, what they call the handle bottle, for $15.99. And that's a value. It really is. It's plastic, but it's a value. I know some people, I can't stand Canadian whiskey. Can't stand it. And I know other people, that's all they drink. If they ask for whiskey, that's what they want. Canadian blended. Don't know why. Well, I know why, because they like it. They prefer it. This one has a little sharpness to it. A little sharpness. You say a bite. You mean a bite. Yeah, a little bit of a bite. And it has that plum wine that, or Johnny Neal might call it, almond extract. Isn't so strong on that, though, like some of the ones, like Canadian Leaf, I think, had that strong thing. There's some rye spice. There's dough, bread dough. When you start picking up that bread dough, you know what that is? That's the barley malt, the barley whiskey, the malt whiskey. You get that with scotch, like Cutty Sark. Go drink some Cutty Sark or taste it, and you'll see, ooh, what's this bread dough? That's the single malt. And when you get that bite, that grain, like cereal grain, yeah, that's the grain whiskey, grain spirits. That's the body. Don't forget the pork. Oh, you got to have the pork. That's the flavor. All right. Joe McCarthy got a bad rap. That's right. But he was sort of jumping into something he wasn't really that well versed in, perhaps. People say he was on a witch hunt. He was. And the people he was hunting were actually witches. Sometimes, you know, the people you're after are actually bad. And he was after, and they had him pretty nailed. He had him clocked. Or he was like Ace in Vegas. He'd only been in Vegas a couple of years, and he had the place clocked. And Joe McCarthy was on the right track, but he made foolish statements sometimes that he couldn't back up. You know, like, I got a list of 206 card-carrying communists. And they said, well, let's see the list. Oh, I can't show that. Why not? I don't know. And then he was scared. Actually, he was scared to go full bore on his attacks because he was worried that he would be accused of being an anti-something or other. I think you see where I'm going with that. And his two advisors may have been undermining him on purpose. He may have been infiltrated. His own organization was almost, I would say, almost certainly infiltrated, like by Roy Cohn. Roy Cohn, and who was the other guy? What? It was two guys. They went around doing all kind of antics. I think they were agent provocateurs, agent provocateurs, that they had infiltrated. Very clever. They were very clever. And McCarthy was, like I say, a novice, sort of. And I like how the left wing say, well, he drank a lot. He was an old drunk. I say, well, it doesn't seem to bother you with some of the other people on your side. You say, well, you're a Democrat. I am a Democrat. I didn't say I was a liberal Democrat. I'm more of a traditional Democrat, like Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, people like that, James Monroe. Okay, these are very interesting whiskeys. I must say they're very interesting. If you say you cannot buy an inexpensive Canadian whiskey and get a lot of complexity and enjoyment, you're wrong. I just say you're wrong. This has a lot of, it's like a fruit flavor. It's so different than anything I've tried before. And I think the Northern Lights is really winning. It's been doing so well. It's a delight. You paid $9.99. And then I got the second bottle. Remember, I told you for $4.75. I don't know what it is. People say I have like a Midas touch. I go around and get all these deals. Like $3.99 for Southern Comfort Fiery Pepper, full-size bottle too. $3.99, $1.99 for Pie Hole cherry pie flavored whiskey, Canadian whiskey. Yeah, it's like King Midas. But sometimes I think the way I interact with people that I'm King Midas in reverse. Like everything I touch turns to dross or fool's gold. That could be. The Canadian Windsor has more traditional whiskey flavor. It's from 1880, not from 1968. So, the Northern Lights came out in the swinging 60s. You say, oh, that was the psychedelic era, 1968. Yeah, sort of the tail end of it. Most bands were getting out of psychedelic music by 68. Some were kind of making a career of it, like Pink Floyd, but they abandoned it too when they see that people don't want to see. They don't want to hear about incense and peppermints anymore and strawberry alarm clocks. But so you think that the Northern Lights came out in 1968, so it might have been a recipe designed to kind of fit that swinging 60s. Summer of Days of Rage, I guess 68. Type of thing with kind of a unusual approach. Where Windsor is in 1880, so it's a more traditional whiskey. Grain, barley, grain, cereal grains. It's a multi-grain. These are both multi-grain products. And don't they tell you to have a lot of multi-grains in your life? Think of it. We've got corn, barley, rye, even wheat. Now, you say, well, that sounds like a health drink. This is not a health channel, but I'm saying sounds like it. The merry pranksters riding around in a bus, says Joe Biden. Right, with their lysergic acid diethylamide, which was, like Grace Slick said, and a lot of others said, provided courtesy of the Central Intelligence Agency. And she said we were getting high-grade lysergic acid diethylamide. It was made at University of California at Berkeley. And they even said, one of their guitarist, their bass player said, they never got arrested. And they were using all kind of chemicals, coca leaf processed powder, everything. And they said they would never get arrested because the CIA would go before them and tell the sheriff's office, look, don't bust them. We know what's going on, but they're part of a project. Now, that's not my words. This is not some conspiracy theory channel. He said it. I didn't say it. Maybe he was joking. Doesn't sound like a joke. Grace Slick said it in her book, that they were getting it from them. They couldn't even understand why, but all they wanted to do was party and goof off, so they didn't care. But they said it was part of a project. And that's what they told the sheriff's office in Ohio, whatever. Don't mess with that band is part of a project we're working on. None of them ever got drafted. You ever notice that? None of the band members, all in their 20s, draft age, nobody gets drafted. Strange, huh? Nobody. Okay, the Merry Pranksters. Yeah, I know about the Merry Pranksters. Bear Owsley and all of them. Think Timothy Leary was CIA? Ha ha ha. Some of these things are kind of like, you know what the deal is. You know what I'm saying? All right. I'm not saying an official member, but and Slick, her real name is Grace Wing, but she said, she's still alive, she's 80 years old. She said they were getting this stuff in 1962. And it's the same story with the mamas and the papas and all these people. They're all, you look at all their parents, Navy intelligence, naval intelligence, naval intelligence. You know, one time it could be a coincidence. 5, 6, 7 times, it's a pattern. All right. Such an interesting product. Now, who wins? That's a great question. I can't even answer my own question. Well, if you want a whiskey that has a very strong wine flavor, you know, like Pabst Blue Ribbon has a wine flavor beer. This one has a wine flavor for whiskey. It's going to win for you. You say, well, that sounds strange. Whiskey that has a wine flavor. It is strange, but it definitely has that. That is definitely in play. Over here, a whiskey that has a much more predominant grain flavor, cereal grain. What about wine? No, I don't pick that up. Almond extract. No, 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 no. So that's the traditional flavor. You say, you mean like Crown Royal? Yeah, something like that. Exactly. It's a personal preference issue. As far as quality, it's a dead tie. So can Sazerac make good bargain price whiskey? Below premium whiskey? They sure can. They do. I taste them. What about Beam-Suntory? Yep. So these are 2 winners. They have a little bite to them, but it isn't harsh. When you drink things like, to me, Black Velvet and Black Velvet Reserve have a nasty little bite. And I know some people love those too. And I'm sorry, but that's what I pick up. When I think of Black Velvet, I think of a bad bite. You say, well, mosquitoes bite you. I know, and I don't like mosquito bites. Gibson's, rare. Gibson's finest, rare. I know I got a great price, maybe the greatest price ever, but I still think it has a nasty little bite, and I'm sorry. You say, that's the character. Well, I guess I don't like character. All right. But I'm going to say that I think I prefer the Northern Lights a little tiny bit more than Windsor, but it's so close. It is so close that you may as well say it's a practical tie. Which one would I pick? Oh, that's easy. They're so close, I'd just pick whatever one has the cheaper price. Simple as that. Now, it could also be, maybe I wouldn't want the plum wine flavor, that wine flavor. Okay, well, then I would pick the Northern Lights. If I wanted the more standard whiskey flavor, I would pick Windsor. But really, it's a tie, and I would just shop price. Do I ever plan on buying either one of these again anyway? No. I can't. If I lived 1,000 years, if I could live 1,000 years and just try everything, yeah, I would buy them again. But I'm not going to do that. I'm doing a long march through the beer brands. Okay? So Ju and Lai did the long march through China. I'm doing a long march through beer brands and whiskey brands and liquor brands. So I'm not going to buy Windsor Canadian again, and I'm not going to buy the Northern Lights again. I'm going to go seek out other things. Do you know how many Crown Royal variants I need to buy? Need. You like that word, need to buy? A lot. So I cannot revisit these things. And I'm not going to. Jim Morrison's father was a naval admiral. You're right. He was the rear admiral on the Maddox, the ship in the Gulf of Tonkin incident. You're right. Jack Napier is rolling in his grave. Well, sorry, Jack. It ain't personal. You said it's smooth as velvet. I say it's as smooth as sandpaper. I can't help it. I have to say it the way I see it. I never liked black velvet. Now, baseball. I like baseball ever since Arnold Rothstein fixed the World Series in 1919. Heard you had a little trouble. Stupid. People behaving that way with guns. But at least you have your health. Good health, the most important thing. More important than money or power. The White Sox are looking good. Every year I think that they did this, they made that move, they did this move, they got this guy in. Oh, it's going to be good for the White Sox. Well, it did happen in 2005, right? That was the year. Okay. And I used to go see the White Sox every year, drive all the way to Chicago, 900 miles almost. No, it was 900 something miles. To go to their stadium and watch the, I say their stadium because they change the name of the stadium every 3 years when they get a new sponsor, but to go watch the White Sox play. I've been there probably 14 times. It must have been 14 times. And I would go eat at Wong Kao, the oldest Chinese restaurant in Chicago, opened in 1926. But it closed 2 years ago. And my father was so disappointed. He was saying, what? He loved that place. He went with me to Chicago once. And he said, I bet that water's salt. I said, are you crazy? It's fresh water. I think he was joking. He likes to joke with people like that, mess with people. Lake Michigan. He said, I'm going to taste it. So he put his finger in the water. He said, it's fresh water. I said, no joke. But he liked the White Sox Stadium. He liked the Chicago Cubs Stadium, Wrigley Field. It was cold, though, with that wind coming off the lake. 70 degrees, but that wind, my father said, damn, it's cold here. He was fascinated by that. He was fascinated by the Cubs Stadium and the McDonald's, the White Sox, Chinatown. He's saying, look at all these Chinese people around here. He makes statements like, look at all these Chinese people around here. I said, well, it is Chinatown, so kind of makes sense, don't it? And they have a nice library in Chinatown, by the way, the Chicago Public Library in Chinatown. It's a cool library. I've been in there many times. Nice, real good place. Even a Catholic church, Chinese Catholic church. Okay, but anyway, then when you go right south of that, then you got an Italian neighborhood. No, Croatian. It's all Croatian. All these Croatian people. And they got flags in front of the yard, Croatian. And then you go south of that, it's an Italian neighborhood. They have Italian flags in their yard. And then there's Italian restaurant. So it's really interesting. You know, I walked through Chicago so many times. Red Sox won in 04 after 88 years. It was actually 88 years. Oh, 86 years, yeah. And the White Sox won in 05 after 88 years. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry, I didn't read the comment carefully. Lucky not to get shot in Chicago these days. I know, I haven't been since 2013. If I went to Chicago now, I'd be walking around carrying my, if I went to Chicago now, I'll be more careful. Ha ha ha. I got one more thing to show y'all now. So this is basically a tie, although I do prefer the Northern Lights, but it's so close. I love the Canadian Windsor too, so don't get me wrong. I think Canadian Windsor is a winner. I kept having people telling me for years, try Canadian Windsor, try Canadian Windsor. What is wrong with you? I said, I'm going to do it. And finally I did it, and they were happy. And I can see why they were bragging on that whiskey. That is a great bargain. So don't let it get you down. It's only castles burning. But I'm going to go get something. Here's some homemade something. Watch this. Now, on US Highway 61 in Louisiana, there's a guy. He's got a vegetable stand. Sometimes it's open, sometimes it's not. One of those kind of things. Usually it's open. He makes his own product. Does he sell it? You cannot sell your own product without a license. All I said was he makes it. His name is Chinese. You know, it's not his real name. We got to use aliases on this channel. Chinese. And my friend Paul, I asked Paul, he used to do beer reviews with us. I said, Paul, you ever heard of Chinese? He said, I've been hearing about Chinese my whole life. So I tried his vodka soaked, well, this thing popped. That means it's got pressure in it. I tried his vodka soaked lemons. He had lemons soaking in vodka with the sugar. That was good. And the vodka soaked, what else was the other fruit? Pineapple or something. That was good. Now that plum wine he made, ugh. I don't know what the people's in reserves problem is. They want to make plum wine. It tastes like you drinking table sugar. Gross. I had to pour it out. I told my friend at work, I said, I couldn't drink that. I said, it was too sugary. He said, I didn't like it either. I said, I poured it out. But he brought this to me. And this is called, the cap says amaretto. Homemade amaretto. I don't know what this is. It smells like, Eddie said, I tried it. It was good. I said, okay. It smells like lemons. I swear to you. Lemons and some sort of resin. A resin. And you notice man ain't adding color into it. So why is it brown like this? Or tan? I do not know. It's like tea colored. What's the proof? The ABV? I couldn't tell you. I don't know. Here we go. This is a bonus. If you don't watch this, I wouldn't be offended. I'm gonna get off the air in a moment too. I gotta go walking half a mile, then another half mile, another half mile later today. If there's fruit in this, there's no way he didn't age this in fruit. Now he filtered it out. It's totally clear. Oh, there's a little haze to it. Oh wait, is there chunks? Oh, okay. So there is some sediment, like maybe some of the fruit gunks, but he filtered it. You'll go blind drinking roadside alcohol. Yeah, maybe. It smells light though. It doesn't smell like booze. It smells like a concoction or something. Let's taste it. Well, tastes like faucet water, sugar, and some kind of fruit. What's the alcohol by volume? It must be very low. Very low. It's okay. I don't think you'd get inebriated drinking this. That's never my goal anyway. It might be your goal, is mine. It just tastes like sugar water, vanilla maybe. I don't know what amaretto is. It's some kind of vanilla thing. Almonds, and tap water. So it's really mostly tap water, sugar, and some fruit. And it's all right. I've had homebrew beer and they're fabulous, but these homebrewed liquor concoctions he comes up with, they're all right. Like The vodka soaked fruit, that was all right. I know he's going to Walmart and buying the cheapest vodka he can get, like Dobra or Skull, and he's taking the fruit, like the whole lemons, you know, the lemon, and putting it in there and soaking it for a year with a bunch of sugar. I know my grandpa used to make cherry bounce. I know how that works. I wouldn't give this too high of a rating, but it's not bad. It's just, I don't like homebrew stuff because you don't know what it is. Like, you don't, like you're saying, you don't know what you're dealing with. Interesting stuff, Ron, says John in LA. Still better than Steel Reserve. Maybe the Steel Reserve 8%, yes. But I have to say, Steel Reserve 6%, which most of y'all can't get, the Steel 6% Steel Reserve, that's a jewel. That's smooth, pleasant, mild, mellow, got a lot of nice body to it. So when I say Steel Reserve, people's hair stands up and they say, oh, it's so harsh. No, no. And I say, I know what you're talking about. But I'm talking about the 6%. It's a different animal. And sometimes they'll say, oh, I never seen that. Now, my daughter and her friend came over in November, Thanksgiving Day, and we did review Steel Reserve 6%. And she was used to the 8.1 that they were knocking back in New Jersey in her high school years. So she said, oh, I remember that. That's a dog. And I said, well, try this. She's thinking, you know, thinking. And she said, this is Babs. She said, you know, for a light lager, for a light beer, this is her mindset, that Steel Reserve was a light beer. For a light beer, this is not bad. She said, in theory, I could drink this. I mean, I wouldn't buy it. She said, but I could drink this. This is a well-made product. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like winking to the audience. See, when people don't know, when they don't know what it is, maybe perhaps they don't judge it so harshly. Still bet. So those are fun little experiments to do. And she was very pleased toward it. And my daughter, we did all those beers that day, craft beers, and then I threw in Steel Reserve 6. And guess what got the highest score? Steel Reserve. My daughter gave that an A-. All the rest of the products, craft beers, got B's and even C's. So think about that for a minute. And these two women do no research, believe me. Zero research, and they don't even care. They don't care if it's macro, middle crow, micro. And I'm talking about, the only reason they drink a beer is because they want to drink it to enjoy. They absolutely don't care. And they absolutely do no research. So you're going to get an unqualified, honest review there. And this has happened continuously when I do Steel Reserve on people that don't know what they're drinking, especially the black can, the triple export. I will get extremely high ratings, like my daughter saying, quote, this is one of the best beers I've ever tried in my life, unquote. That's what she said. Do they still produce Red Dog? Oh, yes, but you can't get it, basically. It's a travesty. All right, I'm out of here. I got to go walking. Bye, y'all. Thanks for watching.